Hey guys, Dave and Len here. We just played, what was it, Agricola from Strategy and Tactics?
That's right.
All right, Len will do most of the talking in this one because he read the rules and I didn't. I played the game, but I haven't read the rules, so go ahead, Len.
Well, instead of the usual line-em-up battles, this is a strategic, actually more operational level. This is a Roman campaign to conquer Scotland, at least the Highland Scotland. And in real life, they had a marginal victory, but it seemed like a few generations later, they were back at the Hadrianal for some odd reason. They couldn't decisively defeat the Caledonians, which is what the natives were called in this time. So, this is the third time I played it. I thoroughly frustrated Dave in this.
No, you didn't frustrate me. It was the die rolls and stuff. The game's very dicey. I mean, if you don't roll at least average in this game, you stand no chance. Who made this game? Was this a Joe Miranda game or?
Let's see. Design Joe Miranda.
Yeah, I was going to say because the combat's similar to the combat he has in his mini-game series. I mean, there's a little more to it. Like the Romans have reserves, so you can move a few Roman units out of combat the first turn, then bring them in on the second. Then they get to fight twice on that turn. But that's basically it. But now that I think of it, if you move them out of the line on the first turn, they don't get the fight. And then if you bring them in as reserves, they get to fight twice. So if you'd have just left them in the line, they would have fought once in the first turn and once in the second. So what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things is that it has the obligatory Joseph Miranda events table.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the event table can be pretty nasty. Like he had to remove 6 units from the board because of what was rolled on the event table. I mean, that almost cost him the game. If I didn't roll so bad, it probably would have cost him the game.
Yeah, and you had one where the Emperor is visiting, and you decided not to say hello, so you lost a bunch of action points.
Well, that was all right. I didn't want to. It was either that or lose my supreme leader who would go to Britain. So I mean, yeah. I'd rather lose the action points. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe if someone studied it, they might say it wasn't the proper move, but it felt like the proper move at the time.
Yeah. It was hard to tell because essentially you spend that turn taking the leader off, and then the next turn he has to return from Lower Brittania.
Yeah.
So that's essentially 2 turns he's out of business.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you did get a free replacement. So.
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know. The Roman units seemed kind of weak. Seemed like Caledonians. The Caledonians had units that were more powerful than the Roman legions and stuff, which I find to be a little bit suspect. But
actually, they're probably larger mobs.
Oh, is that what they're trying to represent? Yeah. All right.
Larger mob. But in that unit, if you flipped it over, it's actually one thing you didn't notice because you didn't fight that much, is that most of the Caledonian units are one-sided. And the 1-5-3 unit, if flipped over, it's then a 2-3 unit. So it's like Roman units, when they flipped over, they don't lose that much because there are a lot of Roman legions that were 4-3, and when you flip them over, they're 3-3.
And also the Caledonians, their leader was like a 5-3, whereas the Roman leader, Agricola, was...
No, Agricola is the big guy.
Right, that's what I said. Agricola... he was what, a 3?
3-5. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 3-5.
Right.
Whereas the Caledonian leader was like a 5-3 or something like that.
Yeah, but if I lost them, it was really bad. One thing is each side has 2 supreme leaders, and if they're lost, you can't buy them back. Mm. So he made a early in the game where he attacked the opium or something like that with my leader there. Mm. And you can't retreat from an opium. And he had the big guy, and I'm sitting there going, oh crap, I'm going to lose this guy early in the game. And he's going to get a whole bunch of victory points for that. So it's actually, one thing we noted is this game takes longer to set up than actually play. It's an 11-turn
Yeah.
game. You don't have that big of a counter mix compared to other games.
I think it took a half hour to set up and an hour to play. So
Yeah.
so it's a significant setup. Even though the game's pretty simple, it does take a while to set up. I guess once you have a counter tray set up with everything properly sorted, then probably like the game setup would be significantly faster. But if you don't, then it's like a half hour.
Yeah, because he was also very cautious, so that sped up. But of course, you never lost any unit to attrition, because you kept them all within the range of supply.
Well, I bought the extra supply carts, so every time I sent out a vexillation or whatever you want to call it, or legion for that matter, I always had a supply cart with, so they were always in supply. But I mean, it'd be suicidal not to, really. Yeah. I mean, because you have to take attrition each turn if you're not in supply. So
yeah, but you were very good on that. The problem we're having is some of the counters. Now, first of all, there are a lot of two-step counters, and they look the same. So you're getting confused in the mix. That I end up putting X's on the reduced side, so it'd be easier to tell which are the reduced counters.
One good thing, though, is the counters are really big in this. I don't know if they're like 3/4 of an inch or what they are, but yeah, good-sized counters.
And also, a problem I had is the Roman regulars. You're supposed to tell them apart because they have shields. And of course, those of us with our eyesight going a little bit, that's hard to tell. If they could put something else to indicate it, like a line underneath the combat factor, then that would have helped.
Mm-hmm.
And
or write Legion on the count. Well, I mean, I know what Legionnaires look like, but someone who's not familiar with ancient games won't have a clue, really, which is a Legion and which is an auxiliary just by looking at it because they're not familiar. So.
Yeah, because the Legion has to stop when it goes into rough hex. Auxiliary just spends one movement point. Mm-hmm. They can go through, which in Scotland is very important. One thing is also there's not a section to put your eliminated units, because at the end you count up your eliminated units. And there's something about you...
No, they're just elite units eliminated on the board.
Because what it is you can't buy them back automatically. See, the regular ones you put in here, and you can buy them back.
Yeah, the recruit.
You're put in a separate box, so you can't buy them back immediately. You got to wait till after winter to buy them back. Mm-hmm. So, you don't get them back that fast. But in the last year that we're playing it, you lost units, and both of us lost a few units to combat. And that's when you're supposed to count them up for victory points. So maybe a separate box or something, I may draw one in.
Well, these sound like typical magazine game problems. Magazine games generally... have a lot of hidden problems and stuff in them, so I mean that's pretty common for a magazine game. I haven't seen a magazine game in years with a well-written rule book without flaws and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't bothered looking up the errata because actually this is like very playable. Like I said, I played this 3 times and it's easy to play. It might be a little dicey because first time I played the Roman rolled got 1 AP the first turn, 1 AP the second turn, and then but of course the Caledonians are rolling like 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. So I'm building up this huge Caledonian army and started marching, and then Agricola tries to attack an opium and loses badly. In fact, he dies.
I think one thing that would have been better, the game's too, like most of these simple games from Joe Miranda, it's too random. One thing that would have made it better, instead of rolling for action points each turn where you could get 1 or you could get 6, you never know, is on the turn record track. For this turn, it says the Romans get 3 and the Caledonians get 4, and as things go along,
it's hard to determine. Both sides are the Romans are at the edge of their logistical train, so it's hard.
Right. So then near the end of the turn track, you can give the Romans less action points and the Caledonians more, and maybe at the beginning give the Romans more and the Caledonians less. It'd be less random that way because the game itself is too random. I mean, the game's not bad, it's just too random.
Well, I was thinking some of the randomness is like I had to withdraw 6 units because of tribal unrest or something.
Yeah. Remember?
And that was a possibility. Keeping these tribes together is very difficult.
True, but I mean, if you're having a bad game, you could have 6 turns in a row where that's rolled, and then you're. I mean, every Caledonian's off the board then, so.
And I joke that you can do lots of things with your APs, but you never have enough of them. Because a Roman player has to balance how much he's going to spend on replacements and how much he's going to spend moving and attacking. And if you don't get the right balance, you got problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, alrighty.
All right, you recommend?
I like this, and I'll be playing this again.
Yeah, I recommend it, but I would, if I owned this game, I'd probably play it 2 or 3 times, and that would be about it. But for a magazine game, it's all right.
Yeah, for a magazine game, it does good.
Yep.
So,
all right, thanks for watching. Have a good evening.